Hi everybody, welcome back to the Cupcake Jemma channel and welcome to our next installment in our mindful baking series. Now this is a brand new thing that we're doing and we uploaded our first recipe the other day for the choc chip shortbread. And what do I mean by mindful baking? It's just stripping it right back. We're going back to basics. We're getting our hands involved. We're not doing anything too stressful, purely so that we can just apply our mind to what we are doing and just really remember the reasons why we fell in love with baking in the first place. So I'm out here picking some blackberries because today we're going to bake some Blackberry Crumble Bars, and this is so cool because we're actually picking the fruit that we're going to use, and at the moment here in England it is the perfect time to be picking your blackberries. So head out wherever you are. I'm pretty certain that you'll be able to find some, and if not, don't worry, go to the store, pick some up, or you can use any other berry as well, or you can just use jam. So I'm going to finish up here. I've got so many beautiful blackberries picked and ready to go. We're going to head back to Sam's flat and we're going to make our Blackberry Crumble Bars. Okay, so the first thing you need to do when you get your berries home is give them a good wash. So chuck them into a sieve and just give them a good rinse under some cold water because we don't know what's on them. There might even be things like pesticides on them or maybe little bugs, and we don't want to eat any bugs today. So I've also weighed my berries and I've got about 300 grams, which is perfect. And first of all, we're going to pop them into a larger bowl. I could have just put them in a large bowl to begin with, but never mind. And I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit of sugar. So I've got 50 grams of caster sugar, but you could just use granulated sugar. White sugar is best for this. So we'll sprinkle that on top. And also I'm going to go with a squeeze of lemon juice. If you don't have a lemon, don't worry at all. You can just leave it with the sugar and the berries. I really love the tanginess of a blackberry, and I think the lemon just kind of really enhances that. So what we're going to do is grab a spatula and just give these a little mix. And that is it. We're going to leave these. This is just going to help draw out a little bit of liquid from our blackberries, make them a little bit more jam-like so that when we put them on top of our crumble and bake them, they are going to go real sticky and jammy. So, crumble time. We're going to do this in a bowl. We're going to use our hands mainly, and we're going to start with some dry ingredients. So we've got some oats, which is a really vital ingredient in a crumble, I think. If you don't have oats, then just bump up your flour quantity. So I've got 100 grams of oats going in. Now I'm making a little one, so I've got this dish here, and I'll put measurements for this in the description box below, along with all the ingredients, and I'll also do a double quantity as well, like if you want to bake for a party, like maybe you're having a party, lucky you, then I'll give you a bigger quantity as well. But it's just me, so I've got a little one. Now I'm going to add some sugar. So I've got 2 types of sugar, but again, if you've only got one, then that's totally fine. And I've got 100 grams of each. So I've got caster sugar and light brown sugar. I really like to use the mix because I just think the light brown sugar has a nice kind of caramelly flavour, which I think really helps in this. So we're going to put both of those into our bowl. And then we've got some flour, so 230 grams of plain flour. We don't need self-raising for this. And like I said, if you don't have oats, then just add an extra 100 grams of flour. And then we're going for salt. Now salt, super important. If you're a regular to this channel, you'll know how much I love salt. But if this is your first time, then hi. Welcome to the gang. And I'm putting a whole teaspoon of salt in here, and salt really draws out all your flavors. It makes everything taste more. So the blackberries is going to make the blackberries taste more blackberry. If you've got vanilla, it's going to make it taste more vanilla. It just really draws out all of our flavors. And the last thing I'm going to put into the dry ingredients is some cinnamon, which is totally optional. I know a lot of people don't really like cinnamon, and I'm actually only going to be putting in half a teaspoon. So this isn't going to taste, you know, like cinnamon. You're not going to bite into this and have this kind of overwhelming flavor of cinnamon in there. It's just, you know, adding a little kind of depth to it, a nice warmth to it as well, and it goes really beautifully with our blackberries. So I'm just giving this a little stir around first. So again, this is a really lovely, simple recipe using kind of stuff that hopefully you've already got in your store cupboards here. And again, just doing everything with a spoon, or we're going to use our hands in a little bit as well. So that's our dry ingredients there. And now it's time to add some wet. We're going to start with 1 egg. So I've got this really little egg here. And we're going to start by just giving it a little break up. And then we're going to add a little bit of vanilla. Again, it's optional. If you don't have it, then do not fret. I'm just going to go in with about ½ teaspoon into here. Just give it a little mix around. And grab back our big bowl. I'm going to make a little bit of a well in the center into which we'll pour our egg. To start with, we're just going to mix through this egg, and it's not really going to look like it's doing an awful lot. We are going to use some more liquid, which I'm just going to nip over to the hob and grab. So before I started, I melted 130 grams of butter, and I've left it to cool down because we don't want this to be hot, mainly because we're about to get our hands in there. So please let it cool down before you use it. And again, I'm going to pour a little bit of butter over the mixture. Give it a little bit of a mix just to get it going. And then I'll add a little bit more. Do the same. And once all the butter is in, we're going to get rid of the spoon. Sorry, little guy. We're going to go in with our hands. And this is one of my favourite things to do. And this is why I kind of chose this recipe, because again, like the shortbread, it means that we're kind of doing the work ourselves. We're not just putting everything in a mixer and wandering off and doing something else. Like, we're having to do this like all by hand, which means that hopefully we're paying attention to what we're doing and focusing on this very moment here and what we're making, and just kind of appreciating it a little bit more, I think. So you can see what I'm doing is just grabbing the mixture and letting it fall through my fingers so that we're creating these kind of lumpy bits here. There we go. And there's not really any right or wrong here. We're just making sure that all the ingredients are mixed together. And that's basically it, guys. So what we're going to do now is, I've just got a little bowl here, and I'm going to take out about a quarter, which I'm just going to do by eye. We're not doing any kind of exact measurements here. So this is going to be the topping for our crumble. That looks about right, do you reckon? I think that looks good. And then this one's going to go over here and into here. This is optional, but for me, it is essential. I'm going to pop in a little bit of chocolate. I've got dark chocolate because I love the bitterness. I think it goes really well with the Blackberries. But if you wanted to put a different type of chocolate in it, or if you didn't want to put any chocolate in it at all, then that's completely fine. But you know me, I love me some chocolate. So I'm going to go in with about 40 grams here and just give it a little mix around with my hand. It's already putting a massive smile on my face, the idea of making this and eating it. So now it's time to get our tin ready. So I've got this little enamel tin here. You can use anything as long as it is oven proof. And I'm going to line this. It's really important to line this so that we can get it out of the tin. And also because of the jam, it's going to be very sticky and it's going to want to stick to the edges. So I've got myself a little knob of butter on some kitchen roll. And I'm just going to start by spreading it all the way around the inside of my dish. And we use the butter to stick down some greaseproof paper. So just cut some greaseproof paper to cover the bottom and the sides of the dish. it is ready. So let's grab our big bowl of chocolatey crumble mixture and we're going to tip it all into the pan. Save that bit. And we're just going to push it down with our fingers. So you can be quite firm with this. And once you've pushed it all down, you want to make sure that it's kind of as even as possible, which is why I always save a little bit of mixture back so that we can go in and fill any bits that we think are a little bit low or there's a big hole there. Now it is time for our blackberries. So let's have a look in here and you can see how some of the juice has already come out and they're looking really lovely and syrupy. And these are going to be absolutely amazing once they've baked. They're going to go really jam-like. And remember, if you haven't picked any berries, you can just use any type of jam that you want to use. You could do raspberry or maybe marmalade, which should also be amazing with the chocolate. And we're just going to evenly pour these over our base. How beautiful does this look? And it's so cool to think that just a few hours ago we picked these berries fresh from the bramble bushes. It just kind of makes it more exciting, and again it just makes you appreciate it all a little bit more rather than just kind of buying everything. You can tell how beautiful this is going to look, can't you, once it's all baked and gone jammy. And if there's kind of holes between your berries, don't worry, because these are going to break down in the oven and it's going to spread out into this lovely layer. And we're just going to top this off with our remaining crumble topping that we saved back. And we want this to be in kind of lovely chunks, so we'll just scatter it across the top. And once it's all on, you can spend a bit of time if you want just kind of evening it out, but not essential. And it is ready. It is time for the oven. So I've got the oven preheated to 170 degrees C. Remember, that's fan assisted. And if you don't have an oven with a fan, then check the description box below to see what you need to do to your oven. And we're going to pop this in for around 30 to 35 minutes. But what we're looking for is for all this crumble on top to be lovely and golden. If you get to 35 and you think it doesn't quite look like that, then by all means just leave it in and just kind of do it by eye, okay? Because we can't, it's not really one that we do a skewer test with or anything, we're just doing it by eye. So I'm going to check mine at 30 and see what it looks like. I mean, this kitchen smells so amazing right now. Oh, look at it. Absolutely beautiful. So let's just take this over here. It's so gorgeous, isn't it? That colour, and it's all completely natural, which I absolutely adore. And the golden brown is our kind of telltale sign that this is ready. But it's not ready to eat. Obviously, this is like molten hot, so please don't start digging in now. You will burn your mouth, and that's the opposite of what we're trying to do right now. So if you wanted to eat this a little bit warm though, you could do it just like a crumble. So let it cool down for like 20-30 minutes and serve it maybe with a dollop of ice cream or some custard. But I want to keep it nice and simple and cut it into bars so I can snack on it whenever I want to, or maybe I'll give it to some friends. So I do need to let this cool down completely. So it might take up to an hour. I might chuck it in the fridge as well, but until then, we're just gonna have to sit and sniff. Maybe it's like a good kind of meditation thing. 1 hour, here goes. Okay, so it's finally cooled down. I did put it in the fridge for about half an hour as well, just to make sure it's completely set. And now we need to get it out of the tin. So we're going to use the greaseproof paper to lift it out. If it feels a little bit stuck, grab your palette knife just to run around the edges. And then we're going to lift it up. There we go. Pop it down. Look at that. Oh, that colour is just absolutely stunning. Oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm just going to cut it up into however big a piece you want. Maybe you just want to dig right in. I'm going to cut it down the middle first. Ready? Oh, that looks great. Oh, wow. How gorgeous does this look? And it smells beautiful and that texture looks delicious. I'm just gonna dig straight in. The berries are still really lovely and tart, which is then complemented by our sweetness of our crumble. And I just got a little bit of chocolate there as well. It's really, really gorgeous. Hang on, let me do another bit. So simple, right? Hardly any ingredients, no fuss, no faff, no crazy equipment, and it was really quick as well. I know it took a little while for it to cool down, but that's kind of worth it, I think. So I really hope that you enjoy baking this. And I'd love to know what kind of fruit you use in yours. Let me know down in the comments box below if you use maybe some other berries, or maybe you go ahead and do like apple. You could do a cinnamon apple crumble bar, which I bet will be amazing. And I really hoped you enjoyed this mindful bake, and I want to do loads more of these with you. And I'd really like to know what kind of things take you back to the beginning of your baking journey, whether that was something you did on your own, or maybe you used to bake with your mum or your grandmother, maybe even your grandfather or your dad. Let me know in the comments box, because I'd love to get some ideas, and I'd love to know what you want to see here on the channel. So we'll be back next week with another recipe. Until then, have a beautiful week, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.